Good morning. I am Marcus Levias, and welcome to the DFPS Worker Safety Support Video Home Security System presentation. This is a quarterly presentation that we have put on from WSS that we want to share things that we thought were pertinent, and we could get that out to the DFPS staff, things that we notice that we want to get in front of before it becomes a significant issue. A brief introduction about myself. I am Marcus Levias in the Worker Safety Support Office, where I work as a management analyst. Management analyst is responsible for getting data from across DFPS, identifying trends, and try to mitigate some situations before they become significant issues for DFPS staff. Prior to coming to DFPS, I actually was in the United States Air Force for 20 years, where I served as an air traffic controller. And 15 of those years while serving as a controller, I actually did work similar to this, where I would get aviation mishap information from across the country. And then I would review my policies and procedures to make sure that we had stuff in place to prevent mishaps from happening at our location. The last 4 years I spent up in Fairbanks, Alaska, freezing, but serving my country. There I took the F-35 program from Fort Worth, Texas up to Fairbanks. Once all my aircraft arrived, I then switched offices and went over to the Alaska Airspace Manager office, where I was the program and project manager for modifying all airspace between the military and commercial traffic through Federal Aviation Administration. I then retired, took a couple months off, and then I joined the agency, and I've been happy ever since. I actually started in January, and I'm loving the opportunity that I have available. So I'll give about 1 or 2 more minutes before we actually get into the presentations for everyone to get settled. We have over 100 participants right now, which is really good for a program, especially for a quarterly presentation. Throughout the presentation, like I said, you can leave your cameras off. You can remain on mute until we get to the question and answer session. I do see people utilizing the chat function, which is great. I actually have that pulled up, and I can see as people put in. And for those that said, thank you for my service, thank you. So please, everyone, start on mute, have your cameras off, and we will begin here shortly. All right, here's an overview of what we're going to discuss today. We'll discuss the WSS mission, Worker Safety Support mission, the purpose of today's presentation, some interesting statistics from around the United States and DFPS. I'll give an introduction to video security devices. We'll discuss available devices, off-the-shelf devices that you can get from your local big box stores and online places. We'll then discuss some home security tips, and then we'll end with a question and answer session. I have about 35 minutes of presentation, so I'm really banking on us having a lot of questions at the end of this presentation to get us to that 45, 50-minute range. So are there any questions before we get started? You can raise your hand, or you could drop it in the chat at any point. All right, moving on. So the WSS mission and purpose, our mission in worker safety support is to assist staff by providing awareness and support functions, focusing on staff safety and resilience. And our vision is everyone goes home safe. So just a little back history about WSS, because I'm always going to put in a plug for us. We were an initiative that was developed to enhance centralized support to DFPS staff involved in safety incidents or accidents while at work. Program was piloted in 2014. The WSS is a division of the program support and is currently comprised of 17 members. And besides handling incident reports, the WSS team also provides educational outreach and training to staff at all levels, such as this. Here, this is just a shameless plug for us. This is our internet page. You can find us under the health and safety, and it'll bring you to the worker safety support page. Here are some of the services we provide. We can also come out to union meetings or meet with you virtually to provide in the training that we have listed and the new training that we are creating as we go forward. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. We love the opportunity. Contact WSS, and we'd love to share our expertise with you. So the purpose of today's presentation is to introduce cost-effective home video security solutions for an additional layer of protection for DFPS staff. And I have to read a disclaimer. DFPS does not endorse or sponsor any products or services discussed within this presentation. Our goal is to familiarize you with options available to increase home security safety. Here's some statistics from around the United States, mainly focused on property crime. So property crimes are the most common type of crime in the United States. And this was taken from a Forbes report that was presented in January 2023, so it's fairly recent. And it shows that 75% of all U.S. homes lack a security system. Only 13% of all property crimes are solved annually, and 60% of criminals, they've done reports from jail, 60% of criminals would consider another target if a security system was present. And just a gee whiz fact, the Texas property crime rate is 2,367 property crimes per 100,000 people. So, and here's some stats from DFPS. Of course, I did omit names for privacy, but this does highlight some of the issues that we have. So in fiscal year 2023, which began in September, we have had 7 significant incidents in which staff and their homes were involved. And listed the most significant incidents here. We had vandalism occurred at a staff member's residence. We had a staff member was followed home, and then someone attempted to burglarize the residence later that evening. We had strangers begin showing up at the staff's address after that address was sent out via social media. And then we had staff member was followed home and approached by a client to ask about their case at their residence. So I actually looked at the incident reports from all of these, and I realized, like, hey, there is something going on. There is a trend that I need to get in front of before this becomes a significant issue. And that is why we developed this quarterly presentation for today, to actually give you an avenue and an understanding that, hey, I can do a little bit more for myself at home security. So I'm going to actually leave this slide up here while you read it, and I'm going to read some facts in the background. So reports show criminals are wary of properties with visible security cameras. Cameras can help gather evidence if a crime does occur at your home. The videos that you take from your home security, you can actually turn over to your local police department, sheriff's department to aid in their investigation. Bundling multiple camera options ensures the best coverage of your property. I am a user of these type of cameras, and I have multiple options on my home. I have 360-degree coverage of my home at any given point from my cell phone. These cameras can be wired or wireless, depends on your living situation or the location in which you need to mount these cameras. I actually have both, and they work really well. And there are a number of options on the market, so find a system that meets your budget and suits your needs. Just understand that when you do go to make your purchases, that wireless security cameras can only record the motion when they're activated versus one that is wired as continuous recording. Continuous recording uses a lot of Wi-Fi bandwidth and requires a power supply. So your certain living situation may not allow you to actually have a wired supply, but you do have wireless options. And just some GWiz information, the footage that you get from your cameras can be stored either on the device, depends on what you purchase, digital storage, or a cloud-based server. And all systems offer different options based on your user's preference. And different camera options come with different tech levels of support. So if you go with a more name brand camera, you're probably going to get greater customer support. It depends on what your budget allows and how much you're willing to spend to build up your robust system. Some systems are based on cloud, others are standalone system. Again, that is what you are willing to take on. If you would like to pay a monthly subscription to get that cloud, that's fine. If not, you just want to buy the system one time, use a SD card or a thumb drive to make sure that works. You can do that through your research. So now we'll discuss available devices. What I'm going to do is just give a brief introduction about each one. I'm not going to go in depth. I chose the top 5 or 6 that were on the market at that time, reputable brands, and I also looked at price point to make sure that it was within budget. Myself personally, everything I own is at the entry level. I did not go to the pro model just because the entry level technology is great in itself, and I didn't need some of the features listed in the pro model. So again, DFPS does not endorse or sponsor any products or services discussed within this presentation. This is just information I found through hours of watching YouTube and reading consumer reports to see which cameras work the best. They're in no particular ranking. Most of the stuff is in alphabetical order just because that's how I do things. And I encourage all questions about products, but please save them to the end. You could drop it in the chat if you have an immediate question or you don't want to forget, and then I'll get to them when we get to the question and answer session. So first, we'll start out with doorbell cameras. I highlight doorbell cameras because that is probably the easiest of all the cameras to get into. The devices range from $30 to $300. I actually was able to get my doorbell camera refurbished for $20. Devices come in wired and wireless options for doorbells. Many third-party permanent and temporary mounting options are available on the market. The reason why that is so important is because we all have different living situations. Some of us own our homes, some of us live in apartments and condos, and the leasing office doesn't allow us to fix anything permanent to the structure. So that's why you have those third-party options so best fit your needs. Not all cameras require a subscription for video storage. That's something to remember. And most devices feature two-way audio, such as an intercom system. You're allowed to preset your motion zones. Your motion zones are the area that you would like your camera to actually capture someone in. So for those living in an apartment with a busy hallway or near a stairwell and you don't want to get constant notifications throughout the day, you can modify those motion zones and pull them back closer to where it just monitors your doormat area, or it may just monitor you and your neighbor across the hallway. It's up to you to set those as a user. It also offers privacy zones where you can set it up to exclude some things. Not sure why you would do that. And most of these in the doorbell range are going to be HD footage. Users receive mobile notifications when anyone presses your doorbell. That is your trigger to actually tell the camera, hey, someone's here. It will send you an alert to your device. And devices such as doorbell camera can be combined with additional cameras, door locks, and virtual assistants, such as Alexa, Echo, Siri, and other home security accessories. The only thing that you have to worry about in the doorbell cameras is that is a very narrow focus compared to, say, a full-blown camera. This is just something that on the market right now. Ring, Google, or otherwise, there's hundreds out there, but these are the more reputable brands, some that you know you can get support from in case there's an issue. If you do have an existing doorbell, you use that wiring to actually hook these up. And you may lose your chime function, but these companies do offer a plug-in Bluetooth device that actually connects to your doorbell, and you can set it with your favorite song as a chime or something like that, whatever you feel like. So highly customizable with these doorbell cameras. So now we're moving into the home video cameras. They're completely different than doorbell cameras because although the doorbell cameras do have video features, the cameras on the doorbells are less quality and very narrow focus range, as I discussed. The cameras we're about to discuss are larger. Most of them, well, some of them have internal storage options, and they usually film in HD, meaning 1080p or higher for those that are into that type of tech stuff. So we'll discuss a few of the camera options. Again, if you have questions, add them to the chat. We'll talk about them later. So starting off, all right, have a good day. So one of the cameras we're starting off with is the Arlo Essential Wireless Camera. I really like this camera. Price point is $99. It can be paired with a Arlo company doorbell. There's numerous third-party options support for this camera because it is a reputable brand that's been on the market for a while. And one of the features that this camera has, if you're concerned about that, is that this camera actually has color night vision and records in HD. Why is that important? Because the average camera at night has an infrared camera and has a black and white video. So if somebody pulls up in a light blue car and you have an infrared camera, that car could be gold, it could be silver, but you won't know. You're just like, hey, that showed up in a light color car versus a dark color car. So if you're really concerned about all the details of your home security, this is a good camera. You have 30 days of cloud storage with this, so you can go back and look at your videos. And this one has an artificial intelligence built into it that recognizes when there's a person, there's a delivery, such with a package, if there's a vehicle or even an animal. So you can adjust the settings on each one of those so it can send you the notifications that you actually want. And built into the Arlo, which is a unique feature that most don't have, it has an emergency response button built into the app that allows you to contact police department, fire department, and medical with just a tap. So those familiar with the safe signal, it's kind of, comparable thing. And this company does offer a 24/7 continuous subscription. You pay a monthly fee for that. If you want it to be a standalone system, you can purchase a smart hub for $100 and you'll save the information on the USB that you provide. The hub is required for you to use your Apple Home and Siri functions for this device. When I looked at this device this morning, it was ranging from $69 to $79 from the Amazon site. So if you're interested in that, that's where you can find it. Next is Blink. Blink is another reputable company that's out there on the market. They sell in bundles, or you can buy cameras individually. If you look on the picture to the left, they have their doorbell and their camera. The cameras are really small. They're about 3 inches by 3 inches square. So highly concealable if you need to. They are wireless. You can purchase them separate. Numerous third-party and permanent, temporary and permanent solutions for this one because it's such a large company. Their wireless says that they have a 2-year battery life. I haven't tested that one. It does have two-way intercom, 1080p daytime, and the infrared black and white night video, custom alerts and privacy settings for you. You get free 30 days with this, but then after that, you need to go to a subscription plan, or you can buy a local module and USB drive. This one does work with Alexa so that you can do everything from your control center in your home to include warm and disarm the system. Moving on to Eufy. The Eufy camera, the solo cam in particular, is the one that I looked up for this one. Eufy has a wide array of cameras, but I was looking more so at the price point for this one. This is one of their lower end cameras. They usually range in the $250 plus range. This camera is $80. No subscription required on this one because it does have an 8 GB internal storage on the camera. You would have to go out and get that internal storage and then bring it to a computer to actually look at the videos. They do have a solar panel option available for this camera. Numerous third-party temporary and permanent mount solutions for this one. And with this camera, it's completely standalone. There's no need for a home base or a sync or anything like that. And this camera does feature a night vision, but it's more so a black and white image, local recording, intercoms, but it does record in 2K HD. So local recording just means the camera doesn't require a cloud or a cloud subscription to save the video. It is completely standalone. So next, we're going to move on to Ring. The stick-up camera is on the left and the Ring spotlight's on the right. These were $99. Actually, refurbished this morning, they were $60. But $99 per the stick-up cam and $169 per the spotlight cam. They also offer a floodlight option. They come in wireless and wired design. The thing with the solar panels, you can add that to the wireless camera so that you don't have to charge the wireless camera. The wireless camera comes with a removable battery pack. I'm getting about 3 to 4 months out of my batteries before I have to recharge them, and it takes about 6 to 8 hours to recharge them. Ring says there's a 2-year battery life. There's intercom, two-way audio, 1080p day, and infrared with that black and white video at night, custom alerts and privacy settings. You get free 30 days with this one as well, and then after that you need to go to the Ring Protect plan. Ring Protect plan right now is $3.99 a month for one camera and $10 a month for unlimited cameras. I have 5 and they work flawlessly. This one also works with Alexa, which you can all control from the control center into your home. So now we're moving on to the mount examples. Mounting options for cameras can be permanent, temporary, as I discussed earlier, based on your living situation. There are many mount options available for third-party vendors, and mount options include adhesives such as 3M tape, temporary clamp, which we see here on this Blink camera to the left, or permanent fixtures, such as what the Eufy has. Amazon and Etsy are great resources for looking up particular mounts that may fit your situation. If you see here on the right, this is actually a Ring cam that you see a lot of times installed on apartments and condos, where this is actually a metal cage with a tab that slides on your door, and it mounts from the inside with some screw, not mounts, but you can turn the clamp and it clamps onto the door. So something else too, while we're talking about mount examples, for some people that are interested in wired devices, I know there are several companies out now that are offering a AC plug, which is just your normal electrical outlet, so that you don't have to have an electrician come out and put holes in your the outside of your buildings or anything like that. Most of them look like giant extension cords, and the companies are making it really easy now so that the users are actually able to do this without calling out a electrician. Most of them are 3 wires and they hook right up. It takes about 10 minutes to put this device up and you don't have to have anyone coming out. But I always encourage you, if you are living in one of those temporary situations, contact your leasing office or your landlord prior to purchasing these devices, so there won't be any issues. Solar panels are a good idea. A lot of people like them because they don't like to change out the batteries as often. Eufy actually has theirs built into their permanent mount, but I know Ring has one. It's a slightly larger solar panel, and it gives you like an infinite amount of power so that you don't have to switch back and forth. So I'm going to leave you security tips up while I read in the background just to give you, this is home security, because a lot of times like we think about like, well, if I have a camera up, everything is fine. Well, there's more that goes into that. So first thing we're going to discuss is lighting. Although burglaries do occur mainly during the day when the occupants are away at work or school, nighttime home intrusions can happen, and you can make your house less attractive by illuminating potential entry points. This can be done through porch lights, floodlights, motion activated lights. Just make your house less attractive to burglars. Locks and windows. A would-be intruder could simply choose a target based on whether or not their door is locked. I know with my particular video device, it allows the community to talk back and forth. The neighborhood's allowed to talk back and forth. And almost every theft that I've witnessed this week was someone left their door unlocked, either at their home or in their cars. I live just west of Houston in Katy, Texas, and crime here is pretty high. And I see a lot of things where people just simply leave their doors unlocked and people are walking from house to house and pulling the door handles and seeing that they can get in vehicles. They're taking electronics, they're taking guns, etc., and they're leaving that on the streets. So if you can, please lock your doors and windows. Something else that WSS is real big on is social media practices. We all know someone that this happens to. You get on Facebook and you see your friend on an airplane and they say, I'm going from airport A to airport B to go on vacation to this. If you can see that, unless they have their Facebook locked down, potential criminals can see that. So just be careful what you post. Remember that social media is a public platform and anyone can see that. And not everyone has the greatest intentions. So if you could, avoid posting dates on your vacation or hold off on posting your vacation until you return from your trip. Moving on to blinds and curtains. It seems simple and very trivial, but keeping your blinds and curtains closed won't keep an intruder or a criminal from breaking into your home. However, it actually makes your home less attractive because they can't window shop the things that they want to take because you have your blinds and curtains pulled. Super simple. Grab a string, turn a rod, walk out the door. Everything's great. And then finally, something new on the market that I encourage people is smart lights. Smart lights are light bulbs that connect through your app, through Wi-Fi. And if you are in one of those situations, you pull a CWAP case late or something like that, you're not home at your normal time, you can actually turn the lights on in your home from your device. You can actually set these lights up to turn on in random intervals as well to give the illusion that you are home or someone is home, although you may be away. The goal for this entire safety tip is we can't prevent all crime, but we can make our house as least attractive as possible to make sure crime doesn't come to us. So now we're moving on to the question and answer session. I'm going to start answering the question that we have in the chat. If you have any questions that you would like to ask out loud, just use the raise your hand function and I can actually see who has questions and we can press forward from there. So first question we have is, a doorbell or tree wall mounted camera seems so easily broken, taken by hand or rod. For a tree wall mount, it is possible to put a wire mesh protective cage over them that won't inhibit the video. That is true. And also I know through especially Etsy, I like to cruise Etsy to see what inventors are doing with 3D printers and stuff. And I know there's a couple out there now that are like potted plants that you can put a camera in. Can't hardly see the thing, great camouflage. And also you have to remember with a lot of these cameras, especially if you're getting the stick up cameras, Most of them are going to be mounted up on the roof line, so 10 feet up. Some people mount them on two-story homes. That also brings up a good point. If you are mounting cameras up on two-story homes, I recommend getting a wired camera versus a wireless, because you do have to swap the batteries out. So that could lead to some issues further down the road. Um, let's see. I keep seeing ads for light bulb cameras that go on your porch light. Seems to be good to be true. Actually, I have a friend that has these at a swimming pool. Again, it comes down to a reputable company. They do work. They have a decent picture. I don't have them on my home because I want to go with the service that I use. But he has them. They look cool. They work. He showed me on his phone. So I would say if that's something that you're interested in, again, do your research and it may be a good fit for you. Where can we purchase smart lights? As someone said, of course, Amazon, any of the big box stores. I even see them now at Walmart. Price point on them are anywhere from $15 and up. And what I recommend, if you do start to build a smart home system with your security, lights, and such, if you stick with one brand, you do everything from one app, because we now know that our cell phones are cluttered with different apps for everything that we do. So if you do pick a brand, do your research, and try to stick with that brand so that everything interfaces well and you don't have to monitor multiple apps. What was the device AC adapter you meant to use wide cameras so you don't need electrician? So for me, I actually have the Ring floodlight, and it actually comes with well, you can purchase a 20-foot accessory plug-in, and it's just a giant extension cord, and it gives you all the instructions that you need. It took me 2 minutes to wire mine, and I ran it from actually the outlet that my garage door opener is plugged into. And then I have it running along my garage into the front of my garage. So I didn't have to hire an electrician. I didn't have to drill any holes, 2 screws to mount the plate, and then everything just snaps together. So we're doing power outages for wired. What about, actually in Katy, we have very significant thunderstorms. So because these systems do run on Wi-Fi, unless you have them plugged up into a uninterrupted power supply, if you do lose power, it will bump off and turn back on. I think the longest mine ever stayed off was like 30 seconds. It reboots really quick. But it does come back online on its own. I don't have to go back and input anything, and it'll actually send me a message when everything gets back online. So live in the sticks, HughesNet is all that's offered. I have the old Arlo first grade cam when it filed the hub. HughesNet does not. So if you have if you run into a situation where you have low Wi-Fi, I would recommend getting one of the internal systems, internal storage, such as the Eufy. I actually talked to someone about that the other day. We were on a call and they wanted to monitor something out in the system. And I was like, hey, get something that has internal storage, something that you can go and swap SD cards and look at. And they work, they're standalone, especially if you get the system where you can put an extension cord and plug it to like a power source, or even with the solar panel options that they have available, so that you have that uninterrupted power. And I would say that would be the best option for those with low Wi-Fi. Lowest camera to have floodlights that trigger when motion is detected. Yeah, I have the Ring floodlight, and mine is set on a timer from dusk to a certain time, and then it turns on again in the morning. If anything happens in the middle of the night, I actually go to the just the regular black and white video. That works for me. Starlink. So I actually haven't dealt with anyone with Starlink yet. So if Starlink is working, switch over to that. Several cameras running on HD. That's good to know. I really didn't know how Starlink was doing. We were actually just trying to get Starlink up in Alaska before I came down, and we were too far north, so we weren't getting a good horizon picture, so we had to hold off, but that's good to know. And did you say the basic Ring doorbell system uses a lot of internet data? I would say no. My entire house is on a smart house system. Everything in my house is ran on Wi-Fi. So as long as my Wi-Fi is up, everything works, no problem. I don't see, as I added cameras, I didn't see a change in performance on anything. I have HD TVs, multiple computers throughout my house. My son's a gamer, so we don't have any issues. Everything works fine. So Ring doorbell, 3 cameras, floodlights around my home. Actually, yeah, that's the system I have. I have 2 stick-up cams, a floodlight, and a doorbell, and I have almost 360-degree coverage of my home. Um, and you can change it. So if I'm home during the day, if I'm working, I can actually say like, "Hey, I'm home," and I'll get less notifications. It'll only notify me if somebody comes to my door. If I say, "Hey, I'm away from home," it'll actually give me more alerts because Ring has AI built into their system that will actually give you smart alerts based on what you want. I have land about an acre in each surveillance. So what would you cost effective wireless at the same source? I don't know. I really don't know what area you have and what sources, internet sources you have available. I would call around and see what you have. And if you just can go without having that constant connection, you can, like I said, go with a system, has internal storage, and just go check those SD cards like you would do with the game cam. I don't know of any that use just cellular at this point. So I'm not really sure. Home Depot, Lowe's. What layer of security is best for security Wi-Fi to deter hacking, etc.? I'm not really sure on that. I let Ring handle that. There is always a possibility that somebody may be hacking into it, but those stories are rare. And I know the larger companies are doing their best to try to prevent that from happening. I'd have to go look through my app to see what level of security I have, but I know I do have one. It gives me an option to see. I just have to check it. Yeah. Harbor Freight is a good option. Yep, for power wireless cameras. I have seen them there. I'm a huge Harbor Freight fan. Okay. What wireless system is best? It depends. For the wireless systems, it depends on what you need to get out of your system. Are you looking for constant monitoring, or are you just looking for someone coming on the property? Are you looking for, hey, I just need to know when someone comes to my house? It all depends on what you need. I started with the doorbell because I thought that's what I needed. And then I started seeing strange cars outside of my house. So then I upgraded cameras. I have a swimming pool. So I have one for insurance purposes for my swimming pool. It just depends on what you need. You build your system based on what you need. I would say if I really like Blink and I really like Ring. I like Blink because it has tiny cameras, 3 by 3 inches, which is like the size of like the average man's index finger. And they offer great customer support. So, and they also offer the ability that you can have a in-hub system to have internal storage if that's what you want. And remember, like these cameras aren't like the end all be all for security systems. They're just options available as a deterrent and as a recording device in case something does happen. It happens a lot, especially in my area. There's a lot of car theft that's going on right now. Wheels are being stolen, particular model cars are being stolen. But I have noticed that those with cameras, because I can see those that post them that share, there are a lot of people that do have cameras, especially the floodlights. Once the floodlights turn on, they know that the camera's there. People turn around and walk away. I rarely ever see videos where people say, hey, this person came and stole my stuff unless they weren't home. We had a friend actually the other day, she was on vacation, posted she was on vacation. A guy came by early in the day acting as a solicitor, saw that the cars hadn't been moved. That same guy came back probably 10 hours later and stole a gun out of a car. So she had a car in it. So with the cameras for indoors, all these cameras that I looked at were outside cameras. I actually trained my puppy with a camera called Blue Ram, and it was just one of those little cameras that rotated around. I could pan and see where my puppy was because she would only chew on furniture when we left the room. So we put one of those cameras up. It's really what you want to budget for. You really don't have to get expensive if you're just looking around in the house. But it's up to you what you're willing to spend your money on. Do some research, but I use a company called Blue Ram. I think the camera costs $20, $30. It was a wireless camera, had an app on my phone, and it worked flawlessly for me for months until she stopped chewing up my furniture. So I have Wave wireless cameras. They have been great so far. My only complaint is cool down period. Yeah, so Wise, I kind of looked in those. Wise is actually another one of those companies is out there. It's pretty well known. I haven't purchased any of the devices just because they didn't have everything that I needed at one particular store when I went in, and I didn't feel like waiting. Not really sure about the cooldown period. That's something maybe I can research after I finish this call to figure out what's going on with that. But um, I always remember too, like the technology is changing. So I know I'm on like generation 2 of my doorbell camera, and I think they're on generation 4 or 5 right now. If you have to have the latest technology, you can purchase that. If not, it's not really, technology is really good right now. Even the entry level stuff is really good. So you're not sacrificing a lot of features by going with the entry level stuff. So as far as changing the settings, I'm not really familiar with the WSS cameras like that to actually tell you what to do. So mount a wireless camera. So I went to Amazon, and it really depends on where you want to mount the camera. I mounted my cameras, although they're all weatherproof, I put them underneath the eaves of my house, so that they can stay out the weather and last us a little bit longer. I had a temporary, actually, the mounts that I have screwed into the side of my house. 3 screws. I just use a little cheap drill from Walmart, and I'm able to, like, I have like an infinite adjustment, up, down, left, right, whatever angle I want, and they give you those options. There's a lot of brands out there, especially now because there have been cameras around for a while. So you find which ones suit you. Like I have the 2 on the side of my house are the same mount, and the floodlight on the front of my house is a completely different one, just because the way I needed to mount it. So um, it really depends on what you need. All great questions. All great questions. Please keep the questions coming. If you have questions, if I have the answer, I can answer them for you, or I'll look them up and shoot you an email. Yeah, Blink is a really good company. I really thought about getting Blink. It was actually my number 2 choice, just because I like the way they do business. I haven't seen their app interface to see if it's um, as user friendly as Ring, but it is actually, it's a really good company. So, any other questions? All great questions. All right. So, will we be able to view this later? I like my husband be able to view this. Yeah, it is recorded. As soon as we get the recording back, what I'm going to try to do is get this loaded up to our internet page. You're very welcome. And hopefully you can show this to whoever you need to, share this within the office. I know a lot of people weren't able to attend today, and they said that they are really interested in seeing this presentation. So we will try to get this uploaded as quick as possible. If not, we'll probably send up a follow-up email for maybe a SharePoint or something we can host to that, but we'll definitely try to get this out to everyone as soon as possible. So we're going to press on. How to contact WSS. Worker safety support. So our director is Miss Lindsay Tomlinson. This is her email. That's how you can get in touch with her. If you live in regions 1, 2, 3, and 9, you can get in touch with Miss Katie McCoy. She can help you out, especially if you're requesting those additional trainings that I mentioned earlier. Regions 4, 5, and 6, Mr. Douglas Cameron. Region 17 in state office, Mr. Claudio Singletary. Regions 8 and 11, Mr. Roy Garcia. I'm your management analyst. I reside in Region 6, but I service the state. And our Safe Signal Administrator and Information Systems Specialist is Miss Danielle Gutierrez. And I like to give a hand clap to Danielle. She was the one that put this beautiful presentation together. My PowerPoint skills are not as great as hers. So thank you, Danielle, for that. You can reach us here at Worker Safety Support at dfpstexas.gov or Safe Signal Help at dfpstexas.gov. We monitor those boxes, and we'll get information to you, back to you as quick as possible. And finally, so how did we do, or how did I do? So in order for me to continue to make these presentations better, I need to know how I did. So you can scan the QR code, and it should take you to a survey. I'm your trainer today, Marcus Levias. If you like what I did, didn't like what I do, you don't like my accent because I'm from Beaumont, Texas, please put that in there, and I'll make whatever changes I can to make this presentation better. As we go forward, we plan on coming to you with quarterly presentations that will be something along these lines to help out, because we want to make sure that everyone goes home and that you're safe at your home. That is our goal and that's our mission. So please fill out the survey. Please be as critical as possible. Sometimes I speak fast. I get it. Accent's a little cool. Thank you. But thank you for attending today. I'm going to leave this slide up. I'm going to turn off my camera and my mic. I'll leave this running till about 10:50. Thank you, Lindsay. And thank you for attending today's presentation.